we're going to just reflect a little bit on this here in terms of CX activities and our role in CX. And the format for this. So we're first going to build a template, and then I'm going to give you like 5 minutes to complete this. So our first quadrant, we're going to say, what were we proud of? What were we proud of this year? Our second, um, our second quadrant, we're going to look at what progress did we make this year? And I'm not looking for big stuff. Don't let the risk officer do this exercise because they're going to fail miserably. Okay, then the third quadrant, you're going to look at pain point. What's some of the pain points you experienced this year in CX and in your role? And then the fourth quadrant is possibilities. So that is really your magic wand, your absolute magic wand. What are you looking for into next year? What possibilities do you really want to open? Okay, everybody's got my template. My camera is a little bit out of focus. So we're looking at what are you proud of? What progress did you make? What pain points did you experience this year? And what are some of the possibilities you want to open? So you got your template. Okay. Now I'm going to give you, let's set a timer for about, I really want you to think about this because we want to use this also as a celebration of what you achieved this year. Now, if you're new in the CX role and you haven't got anything that you've done around CX, you just do it for what you did this year. What did you do in 2025? All right. So let's take 5 minutes and I'm looking for, don't put the Kilimanjaros that you've climbed. Look for very practical things. And I'm looking for 2 or 3 bullet points under each of these. For the new people that joined us, if you look in the chat, I've given you a brief in the chat of what we're busy doing. And we've got about 3 minutes left. For the other people, if you're done, just put in the chat done so I can see when you are finished. All right, and start wrapping up. Fantastic. Thank you for the people that indicated that they're done. All right. So what I want you to do now is pick one of the things that you're proud of. One of the things that you're proud of. And I want you to put in the chat, I am proud of this. Pick one of those things that you want to celebrate with this group of people. And we want to just pause before we go into 2026 and say, this was a tough year, but there's something I can be proud of. So type in the chat what you are. Wow, I'm seeing some awesome stuff there in the chat. Congratulations, everyone. So just finish typing, and then I'm going to ask everyone just to give yourselves an incredible hand, right? We're going to just do a nice little clap there. And we go, tap ourselves on this shoulder, tap ourselves on that shoulder, and go, great job, great job. I love that. And if you look at that, you can see so many diverse things, right? We look at crisis management, we look at culture. And who was in the session last week, Friday? Was there anyone that was in the session last week, Friday? No? Have we got completely? Oh, that's amazing. So Friday. Oh, there we go. Tululup. I'm sorry, I'm saying your name wrong there. Is that better? Is that better? So we looked at from a career perspective, what are all the CX competencies that you need? And you can see in this room, the wonderful thing about being a tribe like this is we've got all different strengths, right? Some people are working on stakeholders, some people are working on culture. And that's what makes this learning environment so valuable. All right, so are you ready for me to share some stuff with you? I'm gonna just zoom out. We want to take a helicopter view, and then we're going to zoom back in. So I just want to share with you holistically, if we say we want to put a strategy together or a roadmap together, what is it that we're talking about? And I'm going to share my screen with you. Let me get this one shared, and Let me just get that shared. Okay. I want to see if I can get it nice and big. All right, how's that? You can see my screen? See my screen? Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to zoom in here. And for you that know me, you know that I love drawing. I love drawing these pictures. But I want just to look at the blueprint, the recipe, and all the ingredients. Customer experience is like baking a chocolate cake, right? We need some flour, we need some eggs, we need some milk, we need some chocolate. And then we have a recipe to bake this chocolate cake. But many teams come to me and say, Chantal, we've lost so much credibility in the organization. Nobody's listening to us. We're struggling to implement. And I go, okay, show me your ingredients and show me your recipe. And they're busy building a chocolate cake, but they've left the chocolate out. What do you get when you don't put chocolate in the chocolate cake? Kananelu. You get cake, right? But you promise chocolate cake, but there's no chocolate in the cake. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's really important that you know the ingredients and you know there's a recipe. Now, some of you might say when you bake a chocolate cake, you first sift the flour and everything, and you beat the eggs in another bowl, and then you put it together. Some of you might say, listen, I beat the eggs. I don't want to make a lot of bowls dirty. I beat the eggs and then I whack the flour in there. Now, there might be subtle differences to how we go about this. But in essence, we need the ingredients and we need the recipe. Now, when you get creative and you bake a chocolate cake and you go, oh, the recipe said 180 degrees, but I want it to be faster. So let me put the oven on 220. Okay, what's going to happen? It's not going to bake at the right time, at the right temperature, right? So some of this you're going to do differently to other organizations. Sometimes your speed will be faster. Sometimes your team will be bigger. Sometimes your team will be smaller. But don't try and get too smart about getting creative about this, because then your chocolate cake might come out flat, or it might not be a chocolate cake at all, right? It might be pancake, a brown pancake, and that's not what we want. Okay, so I want to just switch on my pencil, and then we are gonna, where's my pen? Then we are gonna talk about the ingredients here. We go, do that. We do that better. Okay, color. Right. All right, that is my Zoom. My Zoom. Just hang on. Okay. All right. So let's start here with the kind of the most important thing is the brand promise. What is promise we're making to the customer, either in the product or the service that we offer? The second thing is the expectation. What is the customer's expectations, and is there a gap between the promise and the expectations? And the third most important thing here, so I've got my promise, I've got my expectation, and now I have the actual delivery of the experience. And do you see there I'm sitting with another possible gap? And then the thing that a lot of you are looking at is voice of the customer. But if we ask the customer a week after an experience with us, they have a memory of that experience. And that memory might be a positive memory, it might be a negative memory, or they can't remember. So between the last piece there of the memory of the experience and the actual delivery, there might also be a gap, because not all customers remember the experience correctly. And that's why voice of the customer is sometimes not accurate, because the way we remember those experiences are actually not the way they happened. But that is the takeaway of the customer. That is what they remember. All right. Now, what we want customers to do is, once they've gone through this, we want this kind of called the loyalty loop. We want them to re-engage. We want them to have a good memory so that they like us and they feel great about themselves and they come back. Now, let's zoom a bit into the action customer, the role players in the story. Okay, so we've got our customer and they are kind of in a journey, But what we often don't see, as brands, we're very narcissistic, right? We think, oh, the customer's in a journey with us. But the customer's having multiple journeys, mobile, banking, medical, entertainment. They're in 5 or 6 or 10 journeys at the same time. And that's why they're able to compare. They go, but you're not as good as so-and-so, not even in your category. Now, let's remember, is this a little bit small? You want me to make it bigger? Let me make it a little bit bigger. So, I'll just quickly erase. Being too smart here. Okay, so if we look at the customer journey and we just go back to the customer has a problem or a need and we're solving that for them. And we need to stop looking through the eyes of our brand at the customer. We need to look at their needs, their challenges, their story, and their feelings. Now, this story that I'm telling you now, this is the kind of story you want to tell your executive and everyone in the team that's going to be on your transformation journey, so that everybody understands the ingredients and everybody understands the recipe. Otherwise, it is like everybody starting their own GPS in your organization. They're trying to get to the same destination, but they're going different routes. They're going via this small town and they're going via that small town, right? I'm trying to get to here from Egypt, but I go either via Ethiopia or Uganda or Nigeria. And the journey is going to be very different. So this is a great explanation to you as a calibration for the organization to get you started so that everybody sees the same thing. So let's talk about the employee. Our employee is looking after service channels, but they also in their own journey. You are currently in a journey with your employer. You are part of the employee journey, right? And the thing about customer experience and employee experience, we can't separate it. Customer experience equals employee experience. If you remember nothing of today, I want you to remember that the way an employee feels about themselves every day at work is how they will make the customer feel. Do you want me to say that again? The way an employee feels every day at work is how they will make the customer feel. And it's how they feel about themselves. And you know, some of those days when you get up and you go, oh, I just feel eek about myself. Like, look how people are looking at me. And I just feel like an imposter and I'm just not coping. And in those moments, you burn a lot of energy to actually deliver a service. And sometimes that service is not something we're proud of, but we're human. And I think one of the skills that is most lacking is how to recharge ourselves, how to look after ourselves, how to set those healthy boundaries, how to prioritize, how to make sure that this human operating system doesn't have a blue screen. Because we in general, I talk about myself, I can't say for you, but I work way too long. I'm way too hard on myself. And sometimes, like, you know, the end of the month, there's nothing left anymore, right? And we don't have enough recharge time. So the employee is also a customer of many brands. The employee goes through all of those journeys as well. So what I'm seeing and what I'm really afraid of is what AI is going to do to the job market. They are predicting that by 2030, I just came from a conference where I moderated a panel on AI. By 2030, there's going to be 300 million job losses or massive job changes across the globe. Because AI is currently sitting at an IQ level of 135. Has anyone in this room had your IQ tested? I haven't. I've been too scared because I'd rather not. I just say I work really hard. I don't have to be smart, right? But 135 IQ is like 2% of people in the world has that IQ. That's how smart AI is at the moment. They're predicting that it'll double every year. I think it's going to happen faster. So we are no longer the apex intelligence on this planet, right? AI is becoming smarter than us, and that can be a huge advantage or it can be a huge disadvantage. Now, I don't want to put the fear of God into you, right? Because AI is not going to take your job. But someone who works AI really, really well might. So I think it's really important that we look at, what's happening in the world and how do we actually skill ourselves up. Now, you didn't come for AI, and I will deal with that in a different workshop, but I wanted to just quickly look at these things here. Just, job journey. You spend 8 hours a day at work. I know some of you do more, and I know some of you send emails at 10 o'clock at night because I've gotten emails from you at that time. But that quantifies to 1,920 hours per year. In your life, 14,600 days. Like, this is working on an age of about 80. So a third of your life is spent at work. And many workplaces are not a happy environment, and you're the only person that has control over that. So think about these components of employee experience, customer experience. How can we create a better experience for ourselves? And how can we increase our impact? How can we make more of our time that we spend at work? So the last piece I want to talk about is, every brand has two things that they're looking for: impact and profit. And that is made up of all these things. We've got our leaders, we've got our products, we've got our departments. Sometimes it's very siloed. I haven't met an organization yet where there's not silo. I think one of our biggest challenges will be collaboration. And as CX leaders and professionals, your biggest job is to be the glue in the organization, to be the connectors, to get people to work together. We've got scorecards, we've got the culture of the organization, and culture is not the posters on the wall. It's how we actually talk behind each other's backs. It's what we say about leaders when they make decisions. It's what leaders say about teams when teams are struggling. That's what culture is. I often say culture is those notices in the toilets, that tell you how to how to treat the bathroom, right? Have you seen some of those notices? Are really scary. Okay, and then we've got our systems, and then we've got AI. So see this as this is the ingredients. This is the recipe. Okay, let me just quickly clean that. Now, we are going to quickly look at the what are the steps? What are the steps that we take, right? So now we're going to put all these ingredients together. And first of all, we're going to discover what's going on in our organization right now. Then we're going to define what it is that we want. Then we're going to design the journeys that we want. And then I've got one here. Then we're going to do the work. We're going to activate those journeys. We're going to implement. And then we are going to continue directing the organization, and direct not in a negative way. See direct as, I'm the traffic marshal. I'm directing people to the places that they need to go. I'm the connector of people. I'm telling them, okay, this is the direction that we're moving in. Look at what we've done. Let's celebrate. Let's alter course. All right. So that is I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. That is our ecosystem. Let's see. And our life cycle. Let's see if there's some question. Let's get some question. Anyone with a question after what I've shown you? Put your hand up. Just unmute yourself. This is your time to ask a question. All right. So what we're going to do next is I have built a CX maturity quiz for you to do that first step, to actually diagnose where are you. It's going to be probably about 5 minutes or so, and you're going to get the results on the screen to actually see, because it's no use we start with activity, but we actually don't know where we are right now. So I want you to go through this quiz, answer with as much honesty as what you can. Now, this is, and I'm going to quickly show you. I want to show you the insights also of what I've done here. So I'll quickly share with you. So this is what the maturity assessment's going to look like. I want to show you here. Just quickly, this is a AI product called Lovable.ai. Now, I believe in authenticity, right? I believe in absolute authenticity. So everything I do, whether it's a post on LinkedIn or whether it's an article, I always write it first, right? And these days, what I've started doing, I can talk faster than what I can write. So I narrate a lot of what I want to do. So I came up with the questions I would ideally like to ask you and the best questions that I've used in the past for maturity assessment. I typed that up in a document. I said, please help with my language because English is not my first language, right? I said, help me with my language and structure these questions nicely. Then I took that and I put it into Lovable AI, and it built me this maturity assessment, right? Mm, it took me, it thought for 19 seconds. Do you see here on my screen? It thought for 19 seconds and then it told me what it built here for me, And then it made some edits to that. And then I said, just put a nice little form there so that people can put in their email address and it mails the assessment to them. People, I'm blown away by this, right? To do these kind of assessments would take a number of days for my team to put this together. Okay. So you're going to go, I'm going to give you the link to this maturity assessment and I'm going to ask you to take 5 minutes. You're going to go in here and put your detail, right? And I'm from South Africa. And then it's going to start asking you questions. It's going to go through 8 sections and it's going to cover these very important building blocks of customer experience. And then it's going to give you where you are at. Because I'm going to give you a roadmap at the end of this, right? I'm going to give you a roadmap, but you are in different places, which means your roadmap might have a little bit more of this or a little bit more of that, right? Maybe you want to bake a really, really creamy chocolate cake, or maybe you want to do a very, very healthy chocolate cake that's got that, what is that vegan chocolate stuff? I don't know what that's called. Cananelu, you maybe know what I'm talking about, right? Cacao, some cacao alternative, right? So we're not all going to bake exactly the same chocolate cake, and this will really help you. So let me stop sharing for a moment here, and I am going to put that link to the assessment in the chat for you. And then I'm going to set a timer and let's see, I'm going to give it 5 minutes so that you can get those results. Make sure your email address is right. I cannot send this to you afterwards, right? I don't have, I haven't built that advanced thing to send it to you afterwards. So for the people that have just joined, we are busy doing a quick CX maturity diagnostic. The link is in the chat. Make sure that you just have that link. And if you want to make sure that you save the results, once you got your results on screen, there's a down PDF button at the bottom with which you can download that PDF. And when you're done, please type down in the chat so I can just see. All right. Thank you so much for giving me that indication in the chat. So let's get a little bit of feedback from you. I'm just going to take a seat for a moment. Let's get a little bit of feedback from you. Any surprises about the result? Nicolette? No.
No,
No
so don't have any surprises. No.
Okay.
Because we've just been starting. So we've just started. So the recognition is there, right? There's a recognition that we do need CA in our business. But yeah, we're getting there. Working
Amazing. And Nicolette, some of those questions, right? I'm going to give you a link to this afterwards. Some of those questions, the questions are more important than the answers, right? And if you want to circulate this to your team, please do that, because some of those questions might be really good to actually take into meetings and say, if you want to motivate, what are we doing about this? We will not improve our
100%.
maturity unless we work on X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree.
Amazing. Well done. All right. Who else? Wendy, was there any surprises for you?
No, well, pretty much sums up what I already knew.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes you need a little bit of motivation. So there's dramatic ways that you can present this back to your executive committee. So I've often used things like this, and I distribute it to, key people in the organization. I get the results back, and then I present it to people. And the answer and the summary is not the most important thing. You know what's the most important thing? If I've got leadership and the one says, we are doing really well on this, and the other one says, no, we're not doing well on this at all. And there's a difference. They're not aligned, because misalignment is your biggest enemy for this kind of work. You need people. I'm not saying don't disagree. I'm just saying if they see very different things, then it becomes more difficult to motivate. Let's say Nicolette wants to start doing journey mapping on, let's say, new business. And the new business executive goes like, oh no, but that journey, we've worked on it. Our communication is crisp and it's really amazing. But the people in the call center says, well, as soon as a new customer joins us, we get 10 calls because they have no idea what to do next, right? So the reality and what the executives see, if that's removed, then you need to find a way to close that gap. Otherwise, you're not going to get anything done. Right. I want to quickly share a little technique with you, and I want you to just use this with caution, right? Because there's times that I thought this would absolutely get me fired. And immersion is really, really, really good to let your executives feel it. Okay. So some of the things I've done, one of my very first programs was in death claims in a life insurance company. And the executives were completely disconnected from reality. And what I did was I took the death claims form and I gave them a black pen and a red pen. And I said to them, in this workshop, I said to them, this morning, we will all be filling in the death claims form. And the CEO said to me, do you think that's really necessary, Chantal? And I said, yes, it's very necessary. And who do you love most in life? And I said, write that name on the death claims form. That person's just died and you're filling in that form for them. And you will circle everything in red that offends you or hurts you or you don't understand as an executive in this insurance environment. And by page 3, I had the head of the contact center call me over and say, I don't think I need to do the rest. And I said, no, you need to do the rest. Go to the end of the form. And they asked me, why is the broker's name the broker's name and the broker code the very first thing on the form? I go, you tell me. And someone said, oh, because the system asks it like that. I said, shouldn't there be where's the broker when the actual family, the next of kin fills this in? And the words we use there, deceased. Wow. It hurts, eh? So that's a great technique. The other thing I've done is had them listen to they wanted to redo the IVR, and I had them listen to everybody else's IVR in the industry, and then I played their IVR, and they lowered their heads in shame. I loved it because it helped me. When they feel the pain, I get the question, Chantal, how quickly can you make this go away? How quickly can you make this go away? Because it's embarrassing. All right. So these are good techniques. Any questions about that? You need to do it with a lot of respect, right? I'm joking here now, but you need to do it with a lot of respect, and you need to frame what it is that you're trying to get out of it. And I have made people look bad in this work that I've done, not intentionally, but sometimes people get offended. And I think if you know, it's like pulling the pin out of the hand grenade, right? If you know there's a opportunity for explosion, consult with people beforehand. Just say to them, listen, we're going to do a review of this. I need you to know what I'm doing. And I had a lot of mentors that I would bounce things off. But I have to tell you, I have upset people. I have walked into boardrooms and I pulled that pin out of the hand grenade, and sometimes it blew. And sometimes people came to me afterwards and said, Chantal, that was not cool. So understand that, sometimes you need to plot this out and look at some scenario, like what's going to happen if I drop this bomb. And sometimes you need to, I have had to go to people and say, listen, I want to apologize. My intention was good, but my execution wasn't that great. The times where, and I think if you're always pure in representing the customer and protecting the brand, then you can get away with a lot. And I think I've always been pure. It's never been about my ego. I've always been really pure. That would be my mantra. We are losing customers because we are confusing. We are losing customers because we give them pain. There was a campaign, I want to quickly tell you this. There was a campaign, radio campaign in 2008. This is a long time ago. A radio campaign that said, please do not surrender your policy in these tough times. Please phone this number and we are going to help you not surrender your policy. We'll give you payment holidays. There was like a whole lot of things that they wanted to offer. And we did a journey audit of that particular journey. And the number that they put on the radio ad and the billboards, that number was a dead number. The number was never answered. And I made a recording. of the call. And at 13 minutes into the call, I just held on because I thought, let me just see how long are we going to run for. At 13 minutes, they were playing Bridge Over Troubled Waters. And I had the executives listen to the whole call, right? They said to me, please make this go away. Please make this go away. This can never, ever, 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 ever happen again, right? And the music was, I added a little bit of drama because I wanted them to feel what it feels like. They spent a lot of money on this campaign. They wanted to help people, but nobody ever tested it. There was no due diligence in how they did this. All right. Any questions? All right. So it's important that we know where we are starting. So now that little PDF report that you downloaded, right? It gave you a few very high level things of what you should be looking at. Now, I want to take you through a roadmap that I've created for you. And I think I'm going to ask you to make a template first before I take you through this, right? And what you're going to do on your template, you're just going to go, yes, I have this, right? If you've got your plan already. And the things I might be giving you that you don't have is just make a note of this. Now, you don't have to write down everything I'm showing you here because I will mail this to you. I'm going to give you access to a Miro collaboration board where you can grab all the things I've showed you today. And I think what I might do, I might actually slap this video on there so that if you want to just go and look at pieces. And I'm asking you that blueprint I showed you, right? Take that blueprint and make it your own. Make that the storyline that you possibly kick your year off with, right? Or if you want me to come and explain that blueprint to your executives, then you drop me an email and say, listen, Chantal, I'd really appreciate your help. Can you come for 20 minutes and be a guest speaker and just come and share this with my executives? Because you know what? Sometimes the thing I love now about my job is I say whatever I want to, because what I say is really in serving people and helping them. Sometimes people inside organizations cannot do that because you're so part of that organization and you cannot always be as blunt and as honest as what I am. What I do with executives, my favorite question, they go, oh, our people and our culture is so important to us. I go, that's amazing to hear. Show me on your budget. Show me on your budget. Where's the line for your people and your culture? And show me your technology. Oh, your technology, you're spending 100 million this year on your people? Oh, you're spending 500,000 on your people. I can see your people's very important to you. Yes, I see that from your budget, right? I can do that. You can't do that because your budget might be sliced. But I think we need to ask those critical questions, and that's why some of these diagnostics are the CX maturity assessment, those questions, because they really need to think. And if they lie, they know they've lied. Okay, so let me go through this map. So what I want you to do, if you want to kind of follow along and make some notes for yourself, let me see. I'm just going to quickly duplicate this template and show you one. I want to show you, and I do this with most of everything I do. And I will leave an empty template also here for you. And this is something that you can also go and do with your own team. Okay, so let me share that screen with you. Or give me a thumbs up. You seeing my screen? Okay. So I like when I start with a roadmap, right? I like we have the year and it's 4 quarters, right? And each quarter is 3 months, which is not a long time, but I love those 3-month sprints. Now, you need to pay attention to quarter 1 and quarter 4, okay? So let me do this quickly. So quarter 1 and quarter 4, you have dead space the start of January. Okay, there's some dead space there where people are still coming back, kids are still going to school, right? And you've got dead space there in December. So you can almost take 2 weeks out and 2 weeks out if you're lucky. If you're lucky, it's only 2 weeks. You see what I mean? So when you do your planning, the thing with plans is we always want to do too much, and we always are running late. And it's because sometimes we haven't realistically thought about this. Then you can almost always hear in the middle of the year, that July holiday, there's also a chunk that you take out there. So make sure that when you do your planning, and I don't want to teach you project management, we're just going to kind of glance over these as quarters. But what I've learned in customer experience, it's very important to look at dividing this up into sprints. Let me just get a sense in the room. Is there anyone that currently runs their journey design in sprints? Or do you start with a journey and run until it's finished? Who does sprints? Anyone? Tabitha does. And Linda does. Amazing. Okay, so for the rest of you, there is something called journey design fatigue, because these things can go on forever and then everybody loses interest. So you want to do your journey design in sprints. When we teach our customer experience mastery program, Mastery 1 deals with journey design as a speciality area. You need to time block it, whether it's 4 weeks or whether it's 6 weeks or whether it's 8 weeks, right? Depending on the complexity, you time box this. Then you do version 1 of the journey, and then you come back with a second sprint. Okay, so I'm going to show you now in this plan. Okay, so you've got your outline of your roadmap. Okay, so let's go now to what I would do if I was starting out Q1 2026. Okay, and I'm going to make this nice and big. Okay, so start with your team, your executive team, your own team, and do the assessment. Where are we? Where are we now? All right, that's a CX maturity assessment. That's a short one I gave you. I'm going to give you the link. You can use that for your team if you want. There's also a longer one where we go in a lot more detail, right? And I can help you with that if you want me to come in and help your team with that. Then business strategy and exco contracting. It's very important to get airtime so that you understand the business strategy of your organization and that you link everything that you do to the business strategy and that you contract with your exco. What is it that you want us to focus on and do this year? Then this next one that I've got here, and I'm just going to, for a moment, let me just switch on my, I'm just going to switch on my pen here so that you can follow along with me. You will see I've got this one here: excite, engage, empower, educate, stakeholder groups. And that one goes through all 4 quarters of your year. And you need to pay a lot of attention to that. I used to have, and we can talk about stakeholder engagement in a bit more detail. I used to have monthly, what did we call it? We called it Customer Experience Forum. I had that monthly when I was running my largest CX transformation program for Sanlam. It was a 3-year program, and we started with this forum. And in the first forum, 10 people came, and we used that as an innovation hub. We got international speakers to come and speak to us. We got challenges in the business. We built games. We used Lego. So first forum, January, we had 10 people coming. Second forum, February, we had 20 people coming. By June, the room was not big enough. We had 60 people coming to that forum. And it became a way to educate people. Now, I positioned it as very platinum. We're getting an international speaker. We're getting a local case study. And it does take time to organize these things. But you know what? I got experts to come and educate the exco, and that helped me get what I want, right? So it's very important that you plan, who are you going to take on this journey? What are you going to teach them? Who are you going to get to influence them? All right, so a big forum like that is really important, and you want that excite and engage to continue throughout the year. All right. Let me for a moment talk about, let me just, and you might want to make some notes here. And I'm actually going to ask you, to actually work on this. And we can spend, let me just check my time. We can spend about 5 minutes. We can spend about 5 minutes on this, because I don't want you to leave this room without really having thought about this. So I've got 3 really important groups in terms of stakeholders, and you want to get this done. You want to get this thinking done. We're sitting now in November. What's the date today? What's the date today, people? 7 November. 7. Thank you. 7 November. Thank you, Kahisho. I'm not even sure where I'm happy I'm with you, but I just don't remember the dates. You have time. We're sitting at 7 November. Do this design that I'm showing you now. Do this before the end of the year. Decide who needs to be on this bus with you. Who's the decision makers? Who's your steering committee? Who's the decision makers? All right. And I want to quickly show you. I want to show you just a little decision making. Let me see if I can find it quickly. Decision maker optimization framework. This is such a I just don't know where I put this, but let me see if I can find this for you. Just hang on a little bit. Give me a minute. If I find this is gonna be worthwhile. Okay, it goes something like this. I'm gonna try and draw it for you. So it's something like this, where you look at, you kind of create this matrix, right? And you look at how much impact, sorry, I'm drawing with my mouse. How much impact does someone have on the project, which is kind of a, what is their authority, and something like interest. So they've got a big impact, and then what is their interest in the project? And then you divide it up. I might be getting this a little bit wrong. Then you divide it up and say, well, if someone's got low impact and low interest, right? Not really interested in, they don't really have authority over this, right? We're not going to communicate with them as much. If they are very interested in this, but they've got low impact, maybe I want to use the fact that they're so interested in this to influence other people. Okay? Do you see that? So here, I might have cheerleaders that can influence others. If they've got very high impact and low interest, oh, that's a problem, right? I need to look at those. Those are my critics in the room, right? They're going to try and hijack this project. And then if they've got high impact and high interest, right? That's kind of my, that's my ideal sponsor for this initiative. Do you see how powerful this can be? Okay. So from a decision maker's perspective, who are your decision makers and kind of where sitting here? Are they interested in this? Because this is going to determine my communication strategy and my engagement strategy with them. What I'm telling you here is the foundation. This is the single thing that you cannot skip, you cannot shortcut, because people are going to get you results. You're not going to get results. People are going to help you get those results, and you need to set them up for success. Okay, so first of all, I want you to think, and I'm going to give you some work time now to do this. Who are your decision makers? Then, who are the work group that you want to establish? So let me give you an example. If you are working on, give me a journey. Who's working on a journey right now? Give me just a quick explanation of what that journey is.
Okay, so yeah, I'll give you a quick one. So I'm working on a journey to make the experience for our. So I work for an insurance company, and we do a emergency services. So we get tow truck drivers and that sort of thing to come out to the customer. So what we're working on now is trying to make that journey a little bit easier for the customer. Yeah.
All right. Amazing. So I was fortunate to have done one of those for an insurance company in South Africa. And what we did, so in your work group, you need people from the front line, right? That are getting the call, that are getting the calls when this happens. They need to be in those journey design sessions, right? You need to bring a lot of the phone calls that happen into those sessions. You need to speak to the tow truck drivers, like, see what's happening there, because sometimes the poor traumatized person who's just been in an accident has 5 tow truck drivers on top of them, and they're trying to assess which one is on my insurance, which one is my insurance going to pay for, right? Where they haven't even figured out what the number of the insurance is. So you want to make sure that you've got someone from claims there, you've got someone from multiple departments, invite someone from marketing, invite someone from compliance when you're doing that journey, and ask them, over the next 3-month sprint, I'm going to ask that you donate X number of hours to this initiative. You contract with them before. When we start a journey design sprint, our project plan is set out. We know every Thursday morning from 9 to 12, we do journey design. Like Catholic nuns, we come and we say the prayers of journey design, right? And people know over the next 3 months, this is the time they're going to need from me. And these sessions are set up every second week for so long, and you contract with them. So your work groups are very, very important. And then the third group there is your core team. Who will be your core team? And your core team, I want to quickly talk to you just about journey design as a speciality, right? It's an incredible skill. And when I've recruited for people for my team, and even when we do projects now, I use people from diverse environments. One of my most amazing people that I've probably ever employed had a degree in drama. You know how great she was with journey design, and I think some of you might have been in sessions with her. Unfortunately, she moved to the Netherlands. Her name was Marilei. I met her, and the moment I met her, I knew I wanted to. I met her at a wine farm. She was actually at a wine farm, working at a wine farm. I met her, and I made a job offer to her there on the spot. And I said, I just could see in her demeanor, she's going to be brilliant at this. And we trained her on this speciality, right? We trained her how to do journey design. But she had all the ingredients of someone that would be a great facilitator, someone that would be fantastic in terms of bringing these things to life. So from a core team perspective, don't just box yourself into, I need a business analyst, or I need, someone who's come from a technology background. I have seen people in marketing be fantastic at journey design. I've actually taken people out of the call center who are really good with journey design. But you need people who are good facilitators, and you need people that can build relationships. From a core team perspective, for me, those are the important things. Are there any questions about what I said now? Let's just quickly open for questions. If you want to ask me questions, you're very quiet. This is your time, team. Nothing from your side. No question. Mira, I see the most beautiful smiles. Okay, Alida, no questions. Okay, so what I want you to do next, I want you just to take a piece of paper, and I don't want you to necessarily come up with a spreadsheet, but think about the people in your environment. And I want you to focus on, let me just change my pen color. I want you to focus on the people that are interested in what you're doing, the people that can be your influencers, and the people that can be your cheerleaders. And look at who's your decision makers. Focus on the decision makers that you might be worried about. Think about your work group and think about your core team. I'm going to give you 5 minutes just to quickly think and jot down some names of people that you need to go and think about. All right. And when you're done with the exercise, just type done in the chat so I can see that you are finished. All righty. You're ready for the next level. So now that you've got the names, okay, it's important to go and look at what do they need from you, and what do you need from them? So I'm gonna send you a link to this board a little bit later, so that if you want to go and copy this framework, you can. But often we focus on what do we need from these stakeholders, instead of saying what is pain I'm relieving for them, right? So really think about this, and you would have heard me talk about empathy mapping, right? Empathy mapping. What are their pain? Okay, what are the things that they lie awake at night? And do you understand enough about their world? Because you need to trade them. If you want their time or their approval or their ideas, you need to trade. You need to solve a problem for them. And unless you really think about their problems, you're going to just get people ignoring your emails. Okay, who hates it when people ignore their emails? Okay, Nicolette, do people ignore your emails?
So much. Yeah,
Coffee
it's like a
shoot,
constant having to get out. Yeah.
Yeah, coffee shoot, people ignore your emails. I can see your pain. Right? You want stuff, you want to get shit done, and people don't do what they're supposed to do in the time that they said they would do it. Okay? People don't have enough time. But the more important thing is, if there's nothing in it for them, okay, so you ultimately need to, I say that it's like the WI in it for them. I don't know. For them. What's in it for them? Okay. If you can't offer them a value proposition, right? Then people are not going to be interested in your project. One of the things, and I will say this shamelessly, okay, one of the things that I use in a lot of the workshops I run and a lot of the feedback sessions I do is I make it entertaining, I make it interesting, and people come to that. And sometimes I say ridiculous things, and sometimes I make stupid jokes, and sometimes I even throw a few F-bombs in there. But people find the sessions entertaining. And you need to differentiate in how you run your project. What I used to do, I did a project for F&B commercial here in South Africa. And when I gave feedback to the CEO, so CEO are busy. They get a lot of emails. Sometimes I do emails until late at night, right? And people want stuff from them. So what I used to do with the CEO, when I gave him feedback, I made sure my feedback was less than a minute. I would record that feedback on a Loom video. I would bring up the project plan and say, I want to celebrate this with you. Your people did these 3 things very well. These are the 3 things that we're busy with, and these are the 3 things I'm concerned about. You don't need to do anything, just take note. In the subject line of the email, I would say, here's some CX program feedback for you, less than 60 seconds to listen to it. He always responded to my emails. He would WhatsApp me and say, thank you so much for the video. I just listened to it quickly between meetings. I was running with my laptop between 2 meetings because he knew that my stuff was always short. It was always to the point. It always added value. And I empowered him to have good discussions with his team in less than 60 seconds. So nobody can tell you that they can't give you 60 seconds. But we write emails like this. It's like a PhD thesis, right? And we only get to the point in the last line, and we live under the illusion that people are reading our emails. They're not. They couldn't give a shit, right? So try and really work on your communication. Make sure your communication is the best. That's the best email they're going to receive. I often got that feedback, not just from the CEO, but from most of the leaders I work with. They go, Chantal, your communication's the best of everyone. Not because I'm bragging or because I'm good, but because I've thought about it. What's their pain? Their pain is time, and everybody wants stuff from them. Everybody wants decisions from them. Let me make it easy and say to them, no decision needed. 60 seconds to enlighten you. 60 seconds to celebrate the results. I need 60 seconds from you because there's some shit going down that you need to know about. There's some stumbling blocks that you need to unblock. Okay, makes sense. All right. So I want you to go and do this for your important stakeholders. This is going to make your job a lot easier next year. All right. I'm conscious of time, and I want to get the roadmap. So I'm going to go very quickly. You will get a copy of this. So your most important thing, I'm going to make this orange. Okay. Your most important thing is engaging people through the year. Then you want to look at voice of the customer. And in Q1, I would suggest create a state of the customer document, a state of the customer report that shows where customers are at. How do they experience? Go back to that blueprint I showed you. What's the gap between the promise and the expectation and the delivery? Then do a voice of the employee. Look at all those culture surveys. You don't have you don't have an absence of data problem. You have too much data. Go and use the data that's available in your organization. Look at voice of the employee and create a state of the employee. How are employees empowered to deliver experiences? Do a compliance and a journey audit in Q1. Look at your project structures and your governance and risk. Train your journey designers. Train your team before you start on this journey. And if you need help with that, I love doing that. Know your gaps. By the end of Q1, you need to have a proper list of what are all the things where we're not doing so well, but also know where you are strong and highlight that. Everybody happy with Q1? Now we're going to Q2. And if you can move fast, you move faster. You do this stuff in a shorter space of time. Now we're looking at people and business KPI metrics audits. If someone says to me, we've got a problem in our environment, I say, show me your KPIs and I'll tell you why. Because you get what you measure. If you measure average handling time, you're going to get short calls. You're going to get transactional calls. You're going to get people getting rude and people dropping calls. Okay, if that's the only thing you measure. I'm not insulting. I might be insulting, but I want to help you, right? So look at your measurements because you get what you measure. Then define your success metrics. What do you want? What do you want to achieve? Set some targets. Your excite and engage and your stakeholder engagement continue. Look at your service promise. Review your service promise. Then scope decisions from all the audits. What's costing you money? What's causing pain? What's introducing risk? And you're going to prioritize that, and that forms the basis of your plan for next year. What are you going to tackle? Compile a business case with goals. How many more customers are you going to keep? How much longer are you going to keep them? How are you saving costs? Less cost to serve, less cost of complaint. Those are the things that your CEO is interested in. And then you start with a journey sprint, right? Those things will inform what are you going to work. Now you know the journey that you're going to tackle, and you always time box it. Then I've said for Q3, and this is a sample plan, right? But I want you to think about these things. You're going to color it in. I'm giving you the coloring picture, and you're going to color it in. In Q3, you're going to look at another journey sprint, or you're going to design version 2 of your journey that you started working on. You work in 4-week blocks, 6-week blocks, 8-week blocks. You need to decide how long can you engage people for? How long do you want to do that in your environment? Out of every journey comes a project plan of things that you need to go and do, right? Let me just move that. The things that you're going to go and do in your project is service culture activation, skills evolution intervention, system changes, or process changes. That's what comes out of your journey. All right, you with me? And then we go to Q4, and you want to continue your implementation of journey. You want to spend Q4 also reviewing, doing a retrospective of what happened the year. You want to do impact evaluation and celebrate wins. And you want to refresh your roadmap for next year. You want to update your governance playbooks and scorecards. I know this is fast. You will get a copy of this. And we actually needed a whole day for this, which I will tell you now what I'm planning and how I would like to help you. But let's pause here for a moment. Questions. Give me a little bit of feedback. Are you feeling overwhelmed? Okay. It depends where you're at, right? And you need to have these decision points. And that's why it's important to have a steering committee, to have a core team, and to run a number of forums where you tackle these important things. As you heard, Nicolette is focusing on a part of the journey, not necessarily the whole journey. So they've identified that there's a particular critical point there where there's an emergency and there's a roadside assistance needed. And that's where they're focusing. So they're taking a micro part of that journey, not the whole journey. All right. I'm quickly just stop. Let me just quickly see. Okay. So we've covered the stakeholders. We've covered and I've got that roadmap there for you. All right. Let me get some, I'm just going to quickly put you on the screen here. All right. Let me get some feedback. Was that valuable for you? Did I give you a few ideas that you might not have come into the room with? Alida, how are you doing? Give me a little bit of feedback.
Yeah, Chantal, thank you very much. I think it's lots of value in it. And I think it's just, like you say, it depends where you're on the journey. So our journey looks slightly different because of the conflicting things happening in the company. So other things have top priority and customer experience just gets the bottom drawer. But yeah, lots of learning from it. Thank you very much.
So, Alida, my guidance to you would be look at the scorecards. Look at what's telling you that the customer experience should be prioritized higher, right? Because there's not a company that I'm dealing with that's not currently busy with some tech integration, right? And the tech integration always takes the highest priority, and we want one platform and we want one system, and meanwhile Rome is burning. And I think doing small things, looking for, if you're a CX team starting out, you want to prioritize the thing that's going to get you the best PR, the thing that's going to be so visible that you can get results. It's going to be the best PR. You're looking for a thing that can become the CEO's dinner table story. You know what? My team did this. And that's what you need.
Yeah, I think we've got that. And by negative, but no, we got that just.
Good job, even if it's negative. So well done. Thanks, Alida. Anyone else?
Chantal, just for me, I think it's just a comment, and I fully relate to Alida. If in where we are now, I think it's perceived as fluff. It's just fluffy things. And I think it's almost like when you talk about UX design as well. Is it seen as these pretty pictures and this fluffy journeys, and it never really gets any legs to run. So that's the kind of issue I kind of deal with now, is how do we make it, how do we sustain it? How do we make it good and valuable and impactful?
You always bring it back to the money. You need to bring it back to the money, right? If you had to, Jean Bliss, I followed her for a long time, right? And she talks about this case study. I cannot remember the company, right? But they had a massive glass bottle with marbles that represented, one bottle was, this is how many customers we're gaining, and this is how many customers we're losing. And they had marbles in these bottles, and a marble represented, let's say, 100 customers. And this company would literally, month by month, have these bottles in a very visible place that showed, this is how many customers we've lost, and this is how many customers we've gained. Because at the end of the day, people listen to money. And if you quantifying this, so what we did is when the probably environment that I spent 3 months building a business case with actuaries, and we took NPS and we quantified what is the value of every level of NPS, right? So my promoters, my 9s and my 10s that are very likely to recommend, what are they worth to us? And then it's unforgiving, because anyone less than 8 pretty much doesn't count in NPS, right? And then we named the 0s and 1s, we named them terrorists, because they will talk about your company whenever they get to a dinner. The first thing they will do, I'm so full of those people. I'm so tired of them. They waste my time. They're disrespectful. They will spew acid on your brand, right? And you know what we did? We said, okay, if we look at the people that are, what's the lifetime value of the people that are 0? What's the lifetime value of the people that are 1? What's the lifetime value of the people that are 3 to 7s? And in life insurance, those amounts add up very quickly. We also asked people in NPS, how many people have you spoken to about this brand, in the last year? And they go 3 or 4 or 7. And we know the income level of most people are similar to their circle of friends. So we said, okay, this is the value of your detractors. And if they could leave, they would, but they can't. In life insurance, sometimes they can't leave, right? And you know how many people are they talking to? So this is a missed sales opportunity. Those people will never buy from. And we showed those values, and it was millions. I mean, the executives, I watched them and they couldn't swallow. The throat just went like, they couldn't even swallow when they looked at those amounts. They said, what do you need to make this go away? And I said, okay, in the next slide, I'm dealing with the budget that I need to make this go away. So quantify. How much does a phone call cost? How much does it cost for a complaint, for a week to tolerate a complaint in your environment? How much does a complaint cost when it lands on the CEO's desk? And what will the CEO do to get complaints to never escalate to him? Aside from get a team of 6 people that pretend that they're the CEO. Do you catch my drift? So you need to look at the money. Where does the money flow? Because there's a ton of inefficiencies. And if people realize that, I often say productivity levels of people in an environment where people are disengaged and the culture sucks, it's like 20% productivity. Apply that to the payroll. You're actually getting 20% value out of your payroll. Do you see how quickly executives sit up straight and go, oh, it's like a Mercedes Benz, right? It's the speed dial is marked until 220 kilometers an hour, but we drive at 10 kilometers an hour. That's what we do with our people. But if you don't quantify it, nobody's going to listen. Alrighty, so I'm getting to the end of our time together. What I did want to share with you, because I think a lot of you are doing a great job some of you are struggling a little bit, as we heard, because it's really difficult to do some of this stuff in isolation, and some of you have small teams to do this. So what I've done, and I want to quickly show you this, I have done, and depending on where you are in your cycle, and I'll send this to you as well, I have put together this CX 2026 strategy accelerator, right? So if you need me to come in and spend 2 days with your team and get the right executives on board, I can come and do this for you and create this roadmap in detail, help you with understanding how you're going to measure this. And even if you're ready this year, my offer stands, because sometimes you need the help of someone that's done this many, many times to just give you that little bit of wind under your wings, right? So I'm going to send this to you. And I love doing these roadmaps because I focus on what are you going to say next November. I want to get an email. Once I've done this for a group of people, I want to get an email in November to say, Chantal, we want you to actually come to our gala dinner where we celebrate what we've achieved this year. That tells me we've done this right, because we can celebrate and we've achieved these. So I'm going to send you this. I'm going to send you this link. I'm going to send you a document. What I'll do, I'll drop this in the chat as well. That'll tell you what I do. It'll also tell you the format. So either we do it online with your team, or I come to you, right? And we do it in person with your team. And then I've done a few of these, which is more the platinum offering, where your team comes to me and we do it at the ocean side. We actually, part of that platinum experience is we put your team on a boat and we go and look at some whales and some dolphins and some seals, and we treat that as a platinum offsite strategy session for your team. And I've done that for teams in Botswana. I've done that for teams in Namibia. And it's a wonderful experience. Obviously, the price tag is a little bit hefty, and it depends on, what your what the size is of that team. For the people that have looked at that and said, like, oh, we just don't have the budget for that, I want you to follow the advice I've given you today. And I want you to continue to come to the free session. And we are going to be posting a lot more content on our YouTube channel. What we've also done in terms of our learning is many, many people come to me and say, Chantal, my manager will not pay for training for me, right? And what we've done, I've taken all our on-demand training, I've put it on a platform, and you can pay for that monthly with a subscription so that you can keep on learning, right? If I didn't have to feed my dogs and my kids, I would give everything away for free. Judith, you know that. I would give everything away for free, right? But there's a monthly subscription model if you wanna grab some of that training. And if you're interested in that, or if you want to get some of your team to do that, I will drop that in an email. All right, but that is pretty much what I wanted to share with you today. I want to just do a special shout out to where was my co-pilot? Mira, was it Mira? My co-pilot, Mira. I just want to say a special thank you to you for helping me let people in. I've really enjoyed this session, and I am around for questions. Otherwise, I want to ask you in the chat, because this is a shy group of people in the chat. Tell me one thing you're going to take away from this session. One thing you're going to take away from this session. And I'm going to quickly just drop that document for you. All right, fantastic. I'm seeing some comments there. Take it back to the money. Identify the stakeholders, cheerleaders and promoters. What's going to get the best PR? What's going to get you the absolute best story? What's going to give your CEO the best story to tell the board? State of the customer report. Yeah, you need to load those people onto the bus and make sure that they're all going in the same direction. And really, I'm so proud of all of you, right? You stuck around through this session, and you are really ambassadors and cheerleaders, and you are the glue that's gonna keep the organization together. Alrighty. Any question? Well, you know where to find me, and I'm always happy to serve you. Thank you for your smiles. Thank you for being so engaged. Thank you for showing up. It has been such a pleasure. Absolute highlight of my day. This week was a very busy and very tough week of traveling, and this is absolutely the highlight of my week. I've been looking forward to this session. So thank you so much, everyone. And I wish you, I think we're going to have 1 or 2 more workshops this year. So watch your inbox for that. And Cynthia, let where's Cynthia? You have a question, Cynthia? Go for it.
Chantel. In fact, this training has been very, very insightful and a valuable one. Just want to share my feedback. I mean, I've learned today that for you as a supervisor to get results, you need to actually bring everybody on board. You need to work with everybody and not work in silos. So this is very valuable, and thank you very much, Chantel.
Cynthia, that makes my heart so happy. And my wish for you is that you will become a powerful storyteller, right? CX people need to be storytellers. That's how we get people to make decisions. That's how we persuade people, is through telling those stories. So thank you for that feedback. And I'm gonna send you away just saying, keep on holding your head high, even if it gets tough. It is almost the end of the year. I know it looks like there's a lot more weeks left than what we have energy for, but keep the flags flying high. And I think we're going to have 2 more workshops. So watch your inbox. Over December, we're probably going to run some promotion on that training of ours. So watch that if you want to learn some more in December. And then in January, I'm on a massive research and learning curve about AI. So please join me in January. Probably going to have a CX AI workshop when we start again in January. But I want to wish you also just nurturing time over December. Take some downtime with your family. Take some time for yourself. This is really the only time of the year when things come to a real standstill. So look after yourselves. I see you, I appreciate you, and my wish for you is that you will have an incredible 2026. Let's just make 2026 absolutely epic, so that we can celebrate and that we can really achieve amazing things for ourselves, for our families, for our teams, and for our customer. And as it goes, what's the rule at Brand Love? We never leave the room without shaking a little bit of booty.
I feel nice. You look nice. I'm gonna think so. Don't think. You be my covering.
You just cannot feel depressed when you're shaking your booty, okay?
How you like me now? How you like me now? How you like me now? How you like me now?
Hello, where'd you get that body from? Where'd you get that body from? Where'd you get that body from?
Got it. My daddy. Got it. My daddy.
All right, everyone. Have an incredible week. It's been so nice being with you. But you online. Many blessings. Love you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.